Call the meeting to order. We have a quorum with Ms. Roberts and Mr. Torres being absent. We'll open the meeting with a moment of silence. Thank you. Now if you can join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you and welcome to the meeting. And first of all, I'd like to thank you once again for these bags of goodies, all the people who prepared this. That was particularly helpful last year. My wife was really ill last year, and those bags went a long way, so I appreciate it very much. We have any recognitions and awards?
We do not, but we do have an introduction, Mr. President.
I'm gonna come on up for the introduction. I'm gonna recognize purchasing.
Okay.
There you go.
Because I read Lamar CISD Purchasing Department honored by the State Association. They received the Award of Merit for Purchasing Operations, so congratulations to purchasing. Thank you very much.
At this time, I'd like to introduce you to our new athletic director, Nikki Nelson. She's a December 1998 graduate of Texas A&M University with a bachelor's degree in wildlife and fishery sciences. She received her master's in 2015 in educational leadership from the University of Texas Arlington. She has 16 years of experience in education, including 14 years of teaching, 1 year as an assistant principal, and is currently serving as our assistant athletic director. She'll start officially when we return from the break. Congratulations.
This time, do we have any audience patrons?
I have not seen any cards, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. Could I have a motion to approve the minutes of November 15th, 2016, the special meeting workshop?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the special meeting of November the 15th.
Second to that?
I'll second.
Any questions, comments? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. Thank you. Could I have a motion to approve the November 17th, 2016 regular board meeting minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of November 17th, the regular board meeting.
The second to that? Farrell? Any questions, discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. Thank you. Motion passes. Board reports. No, we have a few of those.
A few, yes, sir. We had our facilities meeting this evening, and I'm going to, I call it shorthanded a little bit. Gil Bain reported that the 2011 bond program project updates, Churchill, Fulcher Junior High School, and Dean Lehman Junior High School are complete, and we will be doing a final payment tonight to Dramala. The Ag Barn number 2 is 19% complete as of November the 30th, and everything is on schedule. And then we had a report from Veneer Rice Gardner, and there's like 15 different reports, so I will try to be brief. The first was Carl Briscoe Bentley Elementary School, and all the preparations for opening school on January the 3rd are underway. It's going to be very close, but we will do it, right? We will do it.
Positive.
Very positive. Kathleen Yeager Lindsay Elementary School, the project is on schedule for June of 2017. That'll give us a little bit more time to prepare for opening. The Texas Energy Code, we were advised today that there is a mandate by the Texas State Energy Conservation Office. They have amended the Energy Code, and this was effective November the 1st. So it will affect Carter, Elementary practice pools and support services. And so they are going to have to look a little bit into the designs. Don Carter Elementary School. The design development phase is nearing completion, and they are planning to present the design development to the board for approval in January. Support Services Center. The original budget was anticipated construction to begin in 2015, but the current start of the construction will be in the spring of 2017. The planning to bring this design development for the board approval will be in January. The practice swimming pools at George Ranch, Foster, and Fulshire High School, they're planning to bring their design development to the board for approval in January. The baseball complex at Terry High School, the district is working on a plan to rebid the project. They only had one proposal, and it just seemed like maybe the timing wasn't exactly correct, and they're going to try to reschedule. The band hall additions at Terry High School and Lamar Consolidated High School, construction documents phase is nearing completion, and they are preparing to advertise excuse me, for competitive sealed proposals in February. Huggins Elementary, the new parent drive and the parking area, there's a faculty park. Excuse me, I am going to stop for a second. I am going a mile a minute. The new faculty parking lot is complete. The canopy is complete in front of the school. The parent driveway is 50% complete, and the entire completion is due for January of 2017. Pink Elementary repairs. They are preparing for Phase 2, the work for summer 2017 repairs. If I'm going so fast, can you imagine what this contractor's having to do? This was just in a 15, 20-minute report, and it's overwhelming. So I have 4 more. The chiller replacements, there's 6 schools that have been awarded projects. The preliminary layout work and the ordering of the equipment is underway. Number 12, the Foster High School water plant upgrades. They are in the permitting process. They have already initiated this. Number 13 is the HVAC web-based controls. The work will include replacing control systems to 8 school sites. Number 14, the district-wide access controls. The design has begun. The project is planned to provide a system to allow card accesses to all the schools in the district. This will be to the newer schools as well as the older schools. The district-wide site lighting, the design phase has begun. There are 49 sites that are planned for replacing existing lights with the LED fixtures. I tried to shorten all of this, but actually they will probably have a very, very short Christmas. And my understanding is that the teachers also will have a very short Christmas to open up the new elementary school. So my thoughts and prayers are with all of you. But I know y'all will get it done. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you for the report. Ms. Eager.
Okay, we did not have a technology meeting, but I do have a report, and I went through it and I decided I would there's a few things that I think are interesting enough to share. I talked about last month the computer refresh, and as of now, the new laptops have been delivered to 80% of the campus, and the remainder will be completed by tomorrow. So we're happy to see that. Also, last month I talked about ClassLink, which is a new portal that will provide a single access point for teachers and students to all district electronic resources. As of now, all staff and students now have that access, but official promotional and training materials are being developed for a full-scale launch in January, and I know the teachers are very excited about that. And let's see, video conferencing in November. We have 11 teachers and more than 330 students participating in video conferencing that included fun facts about turkeys, learning about the sun, and talking to Benjamin Franklin. That must have been interesting. But in December, they currently have 67 teachers and over 2,000 students that will have the opportunity to engage in upcoming video conferences that include chatting with Santa Claus, Aesop storytelling, unsolved mysteries of the Texas Revolution, and the Nutcracker. So I bet those students had a fun time there. And last of all, the district has a Discovery Education, which they've enrolled all the students. They have their own active accounts to access information, and over 5,941 resources were used in November, including streaming videos, articles, images, and assignments. And as a retired teacher, those are very good resources, and the fact that we're paying for the students to go use it and they're using it makes me very happy. I also got to December 2nd, go out to Fulshear and Lehman for the dedication of those 2 new schools, and it was a beautiful ceremony, and many of the family of Dean Lehman were there, and the look on their faces and the joy in their hearts to see those schools was priceless. And I know those that attended probably felt the same way I did, how happy they were. And I stopped by last Friday to watch the little ones from Seguin walk through Brazos Crossing, and if anyone didn't get to see how beautiful this place was, thank you again to Dr. Randall and all the people here at Brazos Crossing to making those kids' Christmas just a little bit sweeter and brighter. And we appreciate what you do for our kids.
Thank you. Dr. Harrell?
We had a policy committee meeting tonight. Today's policy committee meeting, we went over the localized policy manual update 105 and some of the revisions contained in that update. Update 105 includes revisions throughout the policy manual based on the passage of the Every Student Succeeds Act, the ESSA Act, signed into law December 10th of 2015. These policy revisions are given down to us by TASB. A lot of the changes are just verbiage changes, not a lot of stuff going on. I will go through the ones. Exhibit BJCD was deleted from the local policy, which basically goes over procedures for appraisal of superintendent recommended by the commissioner. Localized policy BJCF was the superintendent non-renewal, basically just verbiage changes in that section. There was one clause added to that, a hearing clause that states there was a clause added to that. It says if the superintendent fails to request a hearing, the board shall take the appropriate action and notify the superintendent in writing that action no later than the 30th day after the date of notice proposed non-renewal was sent. BQ local planning and decision making, basically just verbiage changes. We updated the CLB local, which goes over pest control for the buildings, grounds, and equipments. No major changes in that. We updated CPC local, which that designates a superintendent district records management officer. So Dr. Randall would administer and document the administration of the records in compliance with the Local Government Records Act. We updated DBA local, that is the employment requirements and restricted credentials records. Basically, there was some redundant items in that they corrected. Updated to DFBB local. Termination contract and non-renewals. Basically, same thing. Some redundant information was taken out. Update to DFFA local. That's a reduction in forced financial exigency. Same thing. A lot of verbiage changes. I'm going to skip down to a couple things that I think were significant. One, we added local policy EHBAF, which basically will require us to video monitor all special education classes. And then we also revised CDC local, which basically all donations within the district Typically, over 2,500 had to be reported to the board and approved by the board to go through. We'll be upping that number to 5,000. So now only donations over 5,000 made in the district will have to come to the board for approval before they can be used. The donations of under 5,000 will be brought to the board just for information purposes every quarter, so we'll know, what donations are happening within the district. But basically, we want these campuses and departments to be able to use their donations sooner than later. One other one was FDC local, and basically that is the policy that protects homeless students, basically saying that homeless students have a right to maintain their attendance at their campus of origin, even if they are deemed homeless.
Thank you, Dr. Earl. Ms. Gonzalez, anything?
No.
Okay, I will report briefly on a number of us attended the 85th Legislative Review Breakfast with Senator Kolkhorst and Representative Zerwas. Again, it was interesting to hear what they had to say, particularly about the school vouchers. Representative Zerwas reported that his district, the reading he get there, strongly not in favor of that. Senator Kolkhorst couched hers in a little different terms than that, so we still have some concerns going in this legislative session about what they're going to do, particularly with that item, as well as 2 or 3 others about how they get their money and how they divvy it up. So we're going to be watching that very closely. Dr. Randall?
Yes, sir, Mr. President. The Touchdown Club had their annual banquet last night, and Lamar CISD for the second year in a row had 3 nominees for those 3 awards. Garrett Grammer, Foster High School for Defensive Player of the Year, C.D. Lamb for Offensive Player of the Year, and Sean McDowell for Coach of the Year. And C.D. Lamb actually was named the Offensive Player of the Year. So, again, Lamar CISD and Foster High School received a lot of great recognition at the Touchdown Club last night.
Super. Thank you. Anything else?
That's it.
All right, at this point in time, we're going to open a public hearing on the Financial Integrity Rating System of Texas, and I believe we'll have a presentation on that.
Good evening. I am pleased to present our Schools First report. It's the Financial Accountability Management Report, and it's for the year ended August 31, 2015, which is the 2014-15 fiscal year. And that's important, and it seems like it was forever ago. But the 14-15 books have to undergo audit. We have to submit the information to TEA. It's reviewed by them, and then they do their compliance and their rating stuff, and then they give us our notice. They give it a preliminary notice and then a final notice, and we just received that in October. The primary goal of Schools First is to achieve quality performance in the management of school districts' financial resources. This is actually the 15th year of the rating system. We had, there's 14 years of official ratings, but then there was a transitional year also. We have to include uniform indicators that measure a district's financial management performance. They identify trends that would lead to financial distress over a period of time. The long-term benefits are improved financial management as a result of monitoring and also transparency for the public. There were major changes to the system last year in August, and according to House Bill 5, or in accordance with House Bill 5 in 2013. And they're effective for the 13-14 year. House Bill 5 amended TEC Section 39.082, and it required the commissioner to include a process in the rating system for anticipating financial solvency of each school district and open enrollment charter school. The changes are going to be phased in over a 3-year period. There's separate worksheets with varying indicators for each of the 3 years. The 13-14 ratings were issued in 14-15, and there were 7 indicators that year. There were 20 in the previous system, and now there are 15 indicators now. The indicator system is composed of critical solvency and financial compliance indicators. The preliminary rating that I mentioned earlier was issued on August 8th of 2016, and the final was on October 24th of 2016. The 2016-17 rating year will require higher scores on the selected ratings criteria compared to this year. The requirements of the system are for the district to prepare an annual financial accountability report, and the report has to include descriptors on the district's performance for the current year and also a comparison of how we performed on the prior year report, and also some descriptive information, a copy of the superintendent's current employment contract, and also compensation and fees received by the superintendent from other school districts or consulting or personal service agreements. The additional requirements are a summary schedule for the fiscal year of certain reimbursements that are received by the superintendent and each board member, mainly for meals, lodging, transportation, and things like that. Also, we have to report gifts from vendors, as well as vendors that are approved that we use, and also ones that are competing vendors that aren't awarded contracts, and those gifts are valued at $250 or more that have to be reported. Also, business transactions between board members in the school district, as well as other descriptive information that's deemed appropriate by either administration or the board. The current rating sheet, the current rating worksheet has 15 indicators in 3 major areas: critical, solvency, and financial competence. The rating system has been updated as other rating systems with the state, and now it's an A, B, C, or F for substandard achievement. The ratings on each critical indicator are answered yes or no, and a no answer with any of these is an automatic F. Ratings on the remaining indicators are either a 0 or 10 or a 10-point score. A maximum score is 100 points, and also the coding of financial transactions is also studied and must be in compliance with the system. This slide, the perfect score, of course, is 100 points. The rankings for A are 70 to 100 points, 50 to 69 above standard, 31 to 49 meets standard, and then below 31 would be substandard or an F. Now, to go through a few of the indicators, I paraphrased these indicators because they're very lengthy when you look at the whole thing. First of all, and of course, like I said before, it's a yes or no answer. The first question is whether the annual financial report, which is referred to as AFR, and the data that we submit to TEA was submitted on time by the deadline, and of course it was. And the next one was whether we received an unmodified opinion in the audit, and we did. And then did the auditor also report that our AFR was free of any material weaknesses, internal controls, and it was free of those errors? Was the school district in compliance with payment terms of all debt agreements at the fiscal year end? And it was. Did the school district make timely payments to all of our partner agencies like the TRS, the TWC, the IRS, and those type of agencies, which we did? And then also, was the total unrestricted net assets balance, which has a particular definition by the state, was it greater than 0? And it was. So we had a positive net asset balance. The solvency indicators are indicators 6 through 12, and those measure the district's ability to meet its debt and other obligations. And I wanted to cover just a few of those. Indicator 7 deals with our current ratio, which is the ratio of current assets to current liabilities.
The TEA wants that indicator or that ratio to be 3.0 or more, and ours is 6.5778 for this year. Indicator number 8 measures the ratio of long-term liabilities to total assets for the district, and that's measures our financial leverage. You want that ratio to be less than 1. Ours is 0.8893. And indicator 10 is concerned with whether our debt service coverage ratio is sufficient to meet our debt service. And so they want to make sure that the resources we've provided will cover all the debt service. It must be greater than 1.2, which is the TEA's target, and we're at 1.4052. The next set are the financial competence indicators, and they're 13 through 15, and they measure the district's skills, knowledge, and data quality. Number 13 looks at how well what we submit through PEAMS agrees to our annual financial report. And our data quality ratio was less than 1%. The allowable is 3%, but we were at 0.00017%, and that's actually the same ratio as the year before, which was kind of odd. Number 14, did the auditors report that our AFR was free of instances of material non-compliance for grants, contracts, and laws related to local, state, or federal funds, and it was free of any of those instances of non-compliance. A list of our rankings: we've had Superior every year. And we did receive the 100 points, which was the maximum or perfect score. And again, this report includes our performance and a description of all the indicators, along with disclosures and prior year comparisons, as well as additional information. We have a full report, and it's available upon request for the public through either my office or Yvonne Dawson's office. And that concludes my report.
All right, thank you very much. Are there any comments from the audience, since this is a public hearing? If not, I'll congratulate Dr. Rao and your staff for keeping us so great financial position.
Thank you.
Very well done.
Staff does a great job.
Thank you, Joe.
And with that, we will close the public hearing at 7:27. At this point in time, we'll move on to establish a consent agenda. We'll start with A1, B1, B2, B3, B4, B5, B6, B7, B8, B9, B10, B11, B12, B13, B14. May I have a motion to approve our consent agenda items?
I'll make the motion that we approve the consent agenda as listed.
May I have a second to that? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, there are none. Thank you very much. We'll go to the donations we had. They had, let's get my revised copy here. Frost Elementary PTO donated $7,417.30 to purchase reading materials for Frost Elementary School. Hubenack Library Activity donated $5,450 to the first grade classroom libraries at Hubenack Elementary School. And Meyer Elementary PTO donated $5,000 to be used for educational field trip for Meyer Elementary School. Again, thank you so much for those donations. Those are a great help to the district. We have some informational items. I need to report on the board member training for the previous year. The current year, Kay Danziger had 28.5 hours. Tyson Harrell had 12.5 hours. Catherine Kaminsky had 28.25 hours. Melissa Roberts had 9.75, and I had 22.5, and I'm trying to get that revised because the Legislative Advisory Council, they had some odd ways to keep tabs of that, and I spent a lot of time with those folks, so I got to go back and get that one a little bit updated. With that, we'll move to the stewardship report.
I know.
Mr. President, in this report, you will find information regarding academic improvements, financial strength, and organizational excellence. While this report doesn't include every aspect of our large and diverse organization, it does provide a glimpse of what's being done for the students and taxpayers of Lamar CISD. Some of the highlights, the district did achieve a MET standard rating for the district and every campus, approved a balanced budget, maintained the same low tax rate for the 6th consecutive year, received 75 campus distinguished designations, doubling the amount in 2015, and named one of 130 school districts in the U.S. and Canada to the Gaston Caperton Honor Roll. And the board will, if you'll turn to page 3, that is the priority scorecard, and we met all of the expectations on the part of the priorities that the board established for this year.
I'll begin with the academic improvement section. Those are pages 4, 5, and 6. They provide a framework, particularly on page 6, that gives you an idea not just in the state, but as well as the region of LCISD's performance, relatively speaking. And we continue performing above the state and the region in all areas.
On page 7, regarding elementary discipline data, elementary schools are putting strategies such as capturing kids' hearts, positive behavior intervention systems, the leader in me, and review of intense behavior programs to address severe behaviors to ensure that students remain in class.
Page 8 is the secondary in-school suspension and out-of-school suspension discipline history from 2012 through 2016. In response to our increased number of ISS and OSS incidents, as well as our growing secondary student enrollment, our secondary administrative team attended a 2-day restorative practice and discipline conference in June. The goal was to increase our available consequences that focus on deterring future poor behavior decisions by our students. One example of a restorative practice is ALC in the home campuses. They will circle with the student any members of the student or the parents would like to include, and to help with that transition back to the student's home campus.
On pages 10 and 11, college readiness is addressed, and it's just a follow-up basically on the many reports the board has had in the past few months. ACT and SAT are found on page 12 and 13, and we'd like to point out National Merit Scholars have had a significant uptick with 4 National Merit semifinalists, 13 National Merit Commended Scholars, and 14 National Hispanic recognitions.
And if you'll turn to page 14 and 15, these are our updates regarding our college and career facilitators. The college and career facilitators have continued to support the college and career readiness since 2010. In fact, this past Monday, they partnered with the CTE department, our director, and they facilitated all the high schools' student interest field trips to the new TSTC campus in preparation for our spring course selection enrollment. And this is to foster the students' interest in what is available at TSTC, the dual and articulated credit courses. The students also participate in Instructional Day and Monday night Princeton Review courses. College and career facilitators facilitate that process. And they have also worked with the students on bringing on ClassLink and ensuring that the students know that this is quick access to the Naviance software for their college and career preparations.
On page 16, you see a profile from the Education Resource Group. This is a company that produces a comparative analysis of the district's performance against other districts within the state of Texas. The green box is, of course, the highest box to be in. The x-axis reflects achievement values, and the y-axis reflects the performance or the growth values of a district. Only one other district with our demographic profile scores this high. That would be Hurst, Euless, Bedford up in the Dallas area. In our fine arts program, we certainly had a notable year with a lot of state and national awards. Christina and Noah Benitez won a Latin Grammy in the Best Children's Album this past year. Artwork from Foster High School advanced to auction, earning $42,000 in sales. Jeremiah Castrillon from Taylor Ray took the grand champion in the art division. And we even had a Tommy Tune Award winner, Muhammad Hummus. He also went to receive the Jimmy Award in New York City this past year.
Pages 18 through 21 are in regards to our Career and Technology Department, and in preparation for next school year in our class of 2018, then these students will be our first House Bill 5 graduates. Our CTE student enrollment continues to grow, and as a result, our CTE department continues to increase the ways in which they are meeting our students' needs by increased articulated agreements with partner higher institutions. We've increased student scholarship opportunities, and also we've provided students competitive opportunities through many organizations. They include Skills USA Law Enforcement, FFA, Culinary Arts, our engineering programs, and coming online this year is Health Science and Technology.
If you'll look at page 22 through 24, special education highlights include the Special Education Parent Advisory Committee has grown in interest. The group that answers questions and provides parental training had more than 20 families at their first meeting. This year, special education includes an adult transition program for students 18 or older at a separate site. The program helps to prepare students for post-secondary success by teaching them job skills, health, wellness, and independent living skills. Job sites include Brookwood at Gallery Furniture, Jane Long Elementary, and Kroger. 75 juniors and seniors with disabilities visited Wharton County Junior College to prepare them for higher-level educational opportunities. The Social Skills Summer Camp, in which students learn and practice social skills during field trips, doubled its enrollment from last year. This camp is supported by a grant from Lee. Currently, the homeless population has more than doubled from last year. Because of the increase, a new position, Counselor for Homeless Students, has been added to assist families with issues and needs. On page 25, Seguin Early Childhood Center, students participated in the Circle Progress Monitoring System, which provides data for teachers. They can adapt their curricular activities and instructional approaches to be more responsive to children's needs.
On page 26, we deal with the accelerated language programs with a brief description. They're divided into the bilingual model and the English learner model. Both of those have been highly successful, and our district coaches under the direction of Miss Gloria Stewart have accelerated our students' progress and outperformed the state in both reading and mathematics areas. On page 28 is curriculum instruction. We continue to use Eduphoria and Lead Forward as our two primary software resources to help disaggregate data and to point teachers and principals, administrators in the direction of how to shape their instruction. Lead Forward added another component this year, the one of heat maps, which highlights the different objectives that a class or a campus may be weak in, so that the principal can again provide guidance to shape instruction there. Our instructional initiatives have continued and resulted in national awards in several areas. Of course, we've already mentioned the National Merit Scholars. We've also had a Gates Millennium and 3 NASA Aerospace Scholars. Reading Recovery has had an amazing success over the years, and this program continues. Over the last 5 years, a total of 292 children, that's the equivalent of 17 first grade classrooms, of students who've successfully completed the program, not only just completing it, but testing within the national average for reading and writing. On page 30, we have several of our special programs, particularly aimed at social skills. Capturing Kids' Heart works hand in hand with restorative discipline. Those two programs complement each other. The Leader in Me continues a process of total school transformation, and I know several of you have been able to see that program in action. No Place for Hate also is a part of our district's philosophy and one of the programs we implement. Currently, Campbell Elementary has been selected as the only campus in Texas for participating in a special pilot that No Place for Hate is having this year.
And on page 31 contains information regarding our ongoing Foshan International Student Staff Exchange. On January 1st of 2017, we will be sending 9 George Ranch students, 7 Terry students, and 3 staff chaperones to Foshan and then Beijing. We're entering our 4th year of this successful student staff exchange program. And also Foster High School has entered into an exchange program with Pingtung High School in Taiwan. And Foster High School is preparing to host 16 students and 4 staff chaperones in February of 2017. And then Foster students and staff will travel to their sister school in January or February of 2018.
On 32, we moved to staff development. This year, we had a 27% increase in professional development hours awarded to LCISD employees. This is a result of a very unique approach that was used this past year. It's called Op 16. Op 16 was participated in by 92% of all of our eligible teachers, and it allowed them to select and choose various professional development programs over the summer to participate in, and in lieu of that, they could trade those days for their August staff development day. The teachers attending that had a different selection of 117 courses that they went to, and they earned 13,789.5 hours of professional development over the summertime. We're very proud of that program, and it will be continuing this coming summer as Opt 17. Our mentor programs continue to support our first-year teachers. They logged 930 hours in support of our first-year teachers. That was also a wonderful success this year, and we've gotten great feedback from those newest teachers to the district. University partnerships also see another new approach that we're putting in. This is a hybrid program between the University of Houston and Victoria and LCISD, where hand-selected teacher candidates go through a 1-year program to achieve their master's degree and a certification as an administrator.
Page 34 highlights our 2016 athletic accomplishments, and Lamar CISD continues to excel, as demonstrated that we claimed 20 of the 28 available district championships, and this included both our 5A and 6A schools. And a particular highlight last spring was Foster High School female wrestler, love this name, Chichi Wanko, winning the state gold medal in the 5A girls wrestling tournament. And then, as Dr. Randall mentioned, culminated last night with C.D. Lamb winning the Offensive Player of the Year, which LCISD has won it 2 years in a row. Darius Anderson a year ago, who's playing at TCU, and C.D. Lamb, who's committed to Oklahoma.
Beginning on page 35, we present information regarding the financial strength of the district. The projections included in the report represent our current standing as of August 31st, 2016 for the 2015-16 fiscal year that is currently under audit. For the general operating fund, revenues of $245.485 million exceeded expenditures by $2.38 million, resulting in an increase to total fund balance. All of that $2.38 million increase will be reported as assigned fund balance, as it's earmarked for encumbrances and purchase commitments at year end. Due to strict attention to efficiency, effective procurement practices, and budgeting techniques, as well as to the efforts of budget managers all across the district to assess absolute needs wisely, funds were saved and redirected toward many worthwhile efforts. An important accomplishment in terms of dollars was the ability to take excess revenues generated through budgeting strategies to fund the district's self-insured health plan. We were able to fund all prior year deficits, all current year expenses, and advance fund 2016-17 plan costs, which helped to balance the budget for 2016-17. In addition, several large projects had a direct impact in terms of instruction. To name a few, 12 portable buildings were built and equipped to accommodate growth across the district. 4 portables were relocated and reestablished. 2 other projects funded were ClassLink software and a contribution toward the infrastructure for the aquaponics lab. As illustrated by the table at the bottom of page 36, 72% of all general fund expenditures were directed toward instruction and instructional leadership. On pages 38 and 39, you will find information about the district's fund balance. On page 38, unassigned fund balance of $70.059 million slightly exceeds the TEA's recommendation. On page 39, you will find the components of total fund balance at $79.99 million at 8/31/2016 as compared to $77.611 million at year-end for 2014-15. On page 40, as represented by the first table on page 40, values have more than doubled since 2006, being at $14.731 billion currently. As represented by the table at the bottom of page 40, the top 10 taxpayers in the district represent about 9% of total taxable value at about $1.3 billion. As shown on page 41, property taxes and state aid are the main 2 drivers of district revenue, which totals $231.508 million. Property taxes represent 62% of that total. High value growth reduces the state share of funding, causing local taxpayers to assume a greater portion of the cost of educating the students of Texas. Then on page 42, with regard to budgetary endeavors, although the district has achieved much success with our current budgetary process, we're always looking for ways to improve. Over the next 2 years, we will be incorporating some new strategies identified as best practices by the Government Finance Officers Association, which is also known as the GFOA. We're participating in a nationwide cohort of public school districts that are being led by the GFOA, where we'll exchange ideas and tools to develop a roadmap for budgeting that's built upon deep collaboration between both the financial and instructional leaders of the district. Using the 5-step approach that's illustrated in the chart on page 42, we'll produce a budget that's thoughtfully prepared and data-driven, one that prioritizes goals and is sustainable, instructional goals and is attainable. The end result will be a budget document that's informative and transparent. On page 43, in the area of purchasing and materials management, 10,395 POs were processed during 15-16, which is well in excess of the prior year. Although the efficient application of best practices in procurement and distribution, the Purchasing and Materials Management Department will again receive the Award of Merit from TASBO for the 2nd year in a row. On pages 44 and 45, we cover child nutrition and other federal program funding. The chart on page 44 covers child nutrition, which that program continues to enjoy great success as it's adding a projected $264,100 to its fund balance, bringing it to a total of $3.92 million at August 31. On page 45, and other federal program and grant funds have increased over the last year from $9.831 million to almost $11.4 million in 15-16. On beginning on pages 46 46 through 49 cover topics that go hand in hand when discussing school district tax rates. The tax rate, made up of M&O and INS rates, is impacted by a variety of factors, including property values, tax collection rates and experience, debt management, which encompasses currently outstanding debt, the timing and amount of bond sales and bond elections, and refunding opportunities, and also financial management and stability, both of which directly affect credit ratings and borrowing rates. I'd like to point out that our tax rate has remained at $1.39 for 6 consecutive years. The district has continued to manage its outstanding debt by selling bonds when funds are needed and markets are favorable. The district's credit ratings have remained stable and favorable due to sound fiscal management, and refunding transactions are considered and executed when feasible. For instance, in March of 2016, 2 transactions were executed together that achieved over $41 million in gross savings for taxpayers over the life of the bonds without extending any of the maturities. This was the largest amount of savings in a single refunding event in the district's history. The table at the top of 48 details refunding transactions since 2005, totaling almost $431 million. And finally, on page 49 are the tax rate history and a chart of surrounding districts' tax rates, where Lamar falls right in the middle at number 5.
In the summer of 2015, 2 recruiters were added to Human Resources. Page 50 highlights the positive impact of the new positions. Teacher job fair attendance increased by 57%, and the number of certified applicants increased by 110%. In the spring, the district implemented a new electronic applicant screening instrument. The data on page 51 reflects that the candidates hired scored approximately 10% higher than the overall pool of applicants, which indicates the district is hiring top performers. Page 52 reports that the district hired 907 individuals to start this school year, with approximately 40% of those being teachers and 23% being substitutes. Paraprofessionals and maintenance staff represent an additional 23%. The district continues to strive to maintain a diverse teacher workforce that is reflective of our student population. As demonstrated on page 53, teacher diversity increased for the 3rd consecutive year. The teacher workforce information on pages 54 and 55 shows that 75% of new teachers hold a standard teaching credential and 22% are enrolled in an alternative certification program. The district increased the number of new hires that have more than 5 years of teaching experience and hold an advanced degree, which translates into a more experienced and educated teaching staff. Page 56 shows a 10% increase in the number of available substitutes. The number of teacher absences increased over the previous year, which may be attributed to an increase in the number of teachers hired to meet the needs of a growing district. Teacher retention improved slightly over the previous year, as indicated in the graphs on page 57. Retention has stayed relatively consistent over the past 3 years. The district recently completed a 2-year pilot of T-TEST, the state's new teacher evaluation instrument. The district is once again a pilot district for the student growth component of the new system, with 16 campuses participating in the student learning objectives phase of implementation. The district's wellness initiatives continue, with 63% of employees enrolled in the medical plan and on-site services such as mammograms and vaccine clinics.
On page 61, you'll find information about our wireless network infrastructure upgrade project, which was completed this past summer. This project included 2,500 access points, with 1 access point in every single classroom and 2 access points in common areas such as cafeterias, libraries, and gyms. These access points support class sets of devices being brought into the classroom, as well as student bring-your-own-device instruction initiatives. On page 62, you'll find the Skyward Student Information System. This year, all LCISD campuses had beginning-of-year forms completed online. Over 28,000, or approximately 92% of our students, had their forms filled out online. This saves time for parents, as much of the information is already in Skyward. And this saves the district an estimated 2,000 hours of data entry work and over 140,000 pieces of paper. On page 64 is ClassLink. ClassLink was selected to deliver a single sign-on portal for staff and students. Users just log into ClassLink with their district credentials to access a library of all their district-provided online resources without having to enter additional passwords for each program or remember all those web addresses. On page 64, the interactive whiteboard build-out project. This project is nearly complete. When finished, all classrooms in the district will have an interactive whiteboard or portable interactive panel. On page 66 is the iPad refresh. In September, the district ordered 6,000 replacement iPads, which have arrived and are being prepped and deployed as we speak. Continuing on page 67 is another refresh project, our computer refresh. This summer, every classroom was upgraded to the current standard, which includes an instructional laptop for staff and student use. In addition, Project Lead the Way classrooms were upgraded to business class workstations for every student. On page 70 is information about Vision Pro. Vision Pro software allows teachers to monitor and interact with students using computers in their classrooms. Vision Pro allows teachers to see a thumbnail view of every student's computer screen or a full view of an individual student workstation. It allows them to lock an individual or group of student computers to deliver instruction. It can force students to only work in a designated application or site, and the teacher can also take control of a student's computer remotely to help them through a step or task. And finally, on page 71 are some interesting web analytics reports. One trend that I thought was good to see is that more people are accessing our website. This year, the number of page views increased by 7.5%, and the number of sessions increased by 12.6% over last year.
And if you turn to page 72, it shows what many of you already know, that Lamar CISD is still growing rapidly. Our current enrollment is just under 31,000 students. We're adding approximately 1,000 students every single year, and within the decade, we project to reach about 50,000 students in Lamar CISD. Ultimately, we are once again still one of the fastest growing districts in the state of Texas. In terms of social media, we're glad to see a significant boost in 2016 by over 4,000 followers on Facebook and more than 23 followers on Twitter. Also, our YouTube channel hit 170,000 video views this year, and it's averaging over 42,000 video views annually. Speaking of video, last school year, LCISD began recording all board meetings and workshops. In all, 30 board meeting or workshop videos were posted online with a combined total of just over 5,400 video views. Also, we posted 12 superintendent update videos, also known as the Randall Report, over the past year, resulting in over 24,000 video views. On page 73, you'll see an update on our work with K-12 Insight. Now, this is the independent research and communication firm that works on our campus climate surveys, which are going on right at this very moment, along with other surveys throughout the district. Last year was our third year administering campus climate surveys, and we had just under 16,000 stakeholders participate. Also, for the third straight year, 8 out of 10 parents and 8 out of 10 teachers gave their home campus either an A grade or a B grade, which of course is great feedback. And on page 74, we're always proud to report that our Education Foundation, LEAF, has donated over $300,000 to campuses for the current school year, and that marks over $2.9 million in donations from LEAF since the year 2000. Moving over to page 75 and on to maintenance and operations, energy consumption did increase this year, but that's primarily due to the Fulshear High School complex coming online. M&O also spent last year tracking all of the district's scheduled events. If you're curious, we held over 12,000 events in Lamar CISD last year, and that's an increase of over 1,400 additional events from the previous year. M&O also oversaw the construction of 12 new portables to accommodate the previously mentioned growth. Also of note, M&O piloted a card key access control system at Bowie and at Hubenack Elementaries, with plans to expand that program district-wide in 2017. Finally, on page 77, there's an overview of transportation. In LCISD, we have over 16,000 bus riders with 180 drivers and 212 bus routes. Also, 54 new buses were added to the fleet this past year with funding from the 2014 bond. I know some of you were able to see one of those new buses up close at the recent Leaf Grant Express.
We finish with a high note on the last page with student support services. If you look under volunteers, you'll see that our volunteers provided 257,325 hours of service. And if you multiply those volunteer service hours by minimum wage, or $7.25, that's $1,865,606.20 of savings that we did not have to pay employees. That's the equivalent of, Jill will have to help me, a 2% raise almost for every teacher in the district.
Mr. President, this was a fast and productive year. I'd like to thank the staff, teachers, and students for all of their hard work. And we'd also like to thank the board for your support. That's the end of our report, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. Thank you for that concise summary. That was fast and hard, but this represents so much work. This little book represents such accomplishments in the district, so congratulations to every one of you.
And until you put it together, you don't know how much you're doing.
Oh, holy moly. All right. Does the board have any questions, comments to the staff here while they're up close and personal? If not, I'll request, are there any future agenda items we need to consider? Are there any upcoming meetings and events that you'd like to note that we don't already have a handle on?
Let's hope we get that school.
Hope we get that school open.
We're going to be standing.
And
It will be open. It will be open. We'll be standing there between them, right?
And because of all the legislative activity, there will be several of us attending the February 21st. I'll go ahead and announce even before our next board meeting, the TASB Legislative Conference in Austin. There's going to be a big push this year, so we will be there. Any other business to bring before this board? If not, this meeting is adjourned at 8:01. Thank you very much.